Unbelievable. Trans-Canada Highway, all the highways connecting to, Alberta, Manitoba are all completely washed out. And Abbotsford is underwater. Now it's on fire. Merritt was underwater. They got landslides everywhere. There's people trapped in their cars. It's a state of emergency all over there.
You guys talk about BC?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's really shitty.
Yes, they got all the rain. November is the rainiest month in BC, and they got an entire month of November's worth of rain in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Primarily Critical. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movies and After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before listening any further.
Because we've got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we cannot wait to share them.
Good, bad, new, old, weird, or gross.
We will pass judgment on them all.
Today, a human teaches humanity to a humanoid robot who's more human than the human. My name is Steve. I'm here with
Phil.
John.
And today we're covering Finch.
Yes, we are.
The brand new Tom Hanks sci-fi. I want to say classic, but I say classic in whatever movie. Did you guys like it? This is my pick.
I thought it was a great movie.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's kind of a Short Circuit meets Castaway meets Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
Harold, what?
Yeah.
No. Well, it's a road trip movie, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks, and he doesn't really pick too many turkeys, right? And this movie really shows what he can do. He's basically on his own with a limited cast. It's an apocalyptic scenario, right? Did you buy the whole scenario? What they're trying to tell us?
Yeah. I bought into it. I love a good dystopian movie. It was definitely post-apocalyptic.
It was. It's like it's at the end of the end kind of thing, kind of scenario, right? Like 15 years after some kind of solar flare knocks out the ozone layer, and it's a death.
Yeah. Atmosphere is gone. People die.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like San Francisco was able to hold together all right, at least temporarily.
Well, that was one of my questions. Finch explains to us that it's like Swiss cheese. There's certain spots where you're safe, and we get that at the very end of the movie. Basically, hey, we have a safe spot in San Francisco. Why wouldn't more people be there, like trying to survive?
Well, he did make a reference about the scariest thing is being other people. And so you get the sense that it's lawlessness. And so, I think he actually said, I'd rather take my chances with the radiation. And didn't he say that? Than with people, right? So,
yeah,
maybe that's why, right? That maybe it's just so chaotic. There's no law and order. And if you try to be in the areas that are nice, like San Francisco, maybe at one time that would have just been a death zone of warfare and chaos.
But they did, to me, I didn't hear them say they allude to any place like San Francisco as a safe zone. But he, for sure, in St. Louis, Missouri area, he had it totally mapped out, right? He cleared the whole situation. If you saw it.
He's scavenge that whole place for food. Yeah, honestly, Finch doesn't seem like a very nice person.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, this isn't Tom Hanks at his nicest. He's kind of a grumpy old man.
He seems bitter, maybe.
He's
Nice guy that's
he's
gone
bitter.
bitter. Yeah.
He didn't. They didn't really talk about his backstory very much, but from what we understand, he was at work and he happens to be a genius robotic engineer of some sort, right? He's stuck at work and he's, I guess, able to live there, out of there somehow. Of this, what was it, like a factory or a
I don't know. Maybe a robotics lab.
lab?
Yeah.
But that kind of leads me to my question. Do you think that I guess Jeff? Do you think Jeff is the first AI, or do you think this is just him making his own robot?
I would say it can't be the first, because I think he's got to be after the solar flare, after the event. He has to have more limited resources to some degree than he would have had prior to the event. So I'm guessing probably AI existed prior to, but that's just speculation. I don't think the movie actually clarified that, but I think, yeah. But in my opinion, I would think it would have to be, if some guy can put together AI with the limited resources he had, it must have already existed.
Well, they really don't give you much backstory. It's like it reminded me of the Quiet Place movie, where you basically don't know you just really focused on their story, and it's kind of frustrating in that way, right? He's a brilliant guy. Here's my question: why didn't he build a robot sooner to help him? He had robots, but why not have a companion sooner to carry the load mentally?
Maybe he's been working on working on making Jeff since the event.
True.
And, this might not be something you do overnight, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He seemed pretty comfortable with his dog. What was his dog's name again?
Goodyear.
Goodyear.
Yeah, he called him Dog, though. He called him.
Right.
When he finds the dog, he's in a Goodyear tire, and I think that's why.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then that's at that point, that's where he's talking about how he was a coward for not helping that woman and that child, right? So some heavy moment. That was a heavy moment in the movie.
Yeah, it was one of the few times they had other actors on the screen.
That's true.
And honestly, it was a little frustrating for me. I really wanted to know more about like the kind of road warrior style life. But maybe that's just me wanting.
No, I agree. But I agree. We didn't really get, like we've said this, is that you just really didn't get a sense of what the rest of the world was like what else was going on. It really does focus in on their story almost exclusively, with limited glimpses into what's happening elsewhere or happened elsewhere, right? So, I would have liked a little more, but at the same time, I can't say I was disappointed with what we got too,
They kept the movie very simple and focused to his story and their plight. It was just to get to San Francisco.
Well, and it seemed like the ultimate goal was to make sure that San Francisco was a reactionary trip, because they were going to get annihilated in their current location, right? But the major goal of this is to get a robot to look after his dog. Sounds like the whole motivation.
Yeah.
And it ultimately works. So
yeah,
I
it did work, and the robot is freaking hilarious. I don't know how they made that robot so charming.
Yeah. Well, did you see how? He slowly evolves, like verbally, and he's learning, right? and he at the end of it, he sounded pretty like a teenager to me.
Yeah.
And
Now,
sorry, John, go ahead.
no, well, I was one of the things he put in it when he was making this robot is he gave it some primary objectives. And looking after the dog, was that number 1 or number 2 or something? Number 1, oh, it's okay. It's number 4. Okay, but I think the highest is do not ever harm a human being, right?
Well, I think
did that not seem like a folly? Give it like he should have said, "Do never harm, me," or he should have somehow made, because there's bad humans out there, and I'm thinking poor Jeff is now tasked with protecting this dog, and he could be confronted with some really bad human beings, and poor Jeff, he's got the strength and he could just annihilate them, but he can't because of this objective, which I felt like maybe that was a bad idea.
Well, okay, maybe I'm stepping on the trivia here, but Isaac Asimov has written a lot of. He's a classic science fiction writer, and he's got the 3 laws of robotics, and that was number 1. So Finch stole the 3 laws of robotics from Isaac Asimov, and then at the end he added the 4th one, which was take care of my dog.
Right. Okay.
All right. So Finch was being lazy. He was being lazy.
He didn't want to think outside the box. He's like, this is the rules of robotics, and that's it.
Yeah. Which feeds into the Finch the grumpy old man theory. That's my theory anyway. Phil, are you familiar with Isaac Asimov?
Yeah. It's good sci-fi. I love it. I love this stuff. Like I like seeing how humans would handle this scenario. Do you think 15 years? I think people lost it before 15 years. It looked pretty brutal in this movie, right? Like Finch puts out his hand in the sun where, he's trying to tell Jeff how serious it is. It's like, it's like sizzles his hand like he's a frying pan. Like, how would humans survive this? Like, it would have been brutal. Like,
yeah. And now, is there any parallels in the fact that Jeff and Dewey are kind of like a robot and his robot dog, and then there's Finch and Goodyear, which are like the human and the human's dog. You know what I mean? And that kind of there's a parallel.
Yeah, but Finch didn't take Goodyear's eyeballs out and put them in his head. That would have been bad.
That would have been bad. Yeah.
Hey, some poor robot had to die in this movie. It wasn't gonna be Jeff. So that poor dog robot died.
And he lied to Dewey. He said he was going to replace his. Was it Dewey? Huey? What?
Dewey was that robot dog.
Dewey was the robot dog.
Yeah, he lied to him. He said, "I will find you new ones." He never did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
He did?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes.
Where did he get them?
Well, he didn't get them. He got him one.
Oh yeah, he got him one. Yeah,
he got him one from a security camera.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Right. So he made Dewey a Cyclops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is rude. It's very rude.
That's a little rude because he said I think he didn't say I will replace one of them. I think he said I'll replace them. Yeah.
Liar.
Poor Dewey.
Liar.
Maybe Jeff, as he evolves, he'll figure it out and get Dewey another eye.
Maybe. You never know.
Dewey, I think Dewey was left way behind there, and Jeff and moved on. So.
Oh yeah, no, Dewey didn't make it to San Francisco.
No, he did not. No.
Oh.
No.
Now, there's a good chance that the robot's going to outlive the dog.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, that Steve, good question here. Good point, Rob. what powers the damn robot? Like, it seemed like these kind of, like, what year do you think this movie takes place? Because they say 15 years after, like, the event. I put it around 2040 or something, because that's pretty advanced stuff, right? The robot and the whole deal.
I don't know, some kind of fusion reactor, I'm sure. I mean, that's a really good question, Phil. When the van lost its power source,
Yeah, it kept going.
Those solar panels.
Solar panels, right?
What was powering it?
Well, at one point, I think Jeff or Finch was putting gasoline, appeared to be some kind of a liquid, into the RV. That RV was like a tank. It was like these souped up tires on this thing, right? It was pretty serious.
It was a pretty awesome RV. I mean, I would want that RV if I was.
So, they never explain the technology. We just go with things, right? We just and he's wearing Finch always has to wear a radiation or a UV suit constantly, right? He was doomed. He had radiation.
Doomed.
He had radiation poisoning. He knew. That's why I wonder why he didn't build sooner a robot to seem like he needed a companion much sooner than he did. But I guess we don't know.
I don't know. He didn't like people. Keep that in mind too.
Yeah, that's right. He was not a people person.
He was a bit of a curmudgeon.
A curmudgeon. Yes. See, this is why we need you, Phil. Okay. Do you want to get into this trivia? It might spark more conversation.
Sure.
All right. Finch activates the robot. He reminds him of his 4 primary directives, I should say. The first is Isaac Asimov's first law of robotics. Don't harm people, or through inaction cause people to be harmed.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I should actually look up the other 2 while you guys read. Go for it.
Sure. Okay, I'll read the next one here. Finch's small robot named Dewey is a nod to the robots Huey, Louie, and Dewey in the 1972 film Silent Running. In Silent Running, a man is left alone with only the company of his robots and teaches Dewey how to look after the plants in the garden on a spaceship. Okay, so
I can't recall if I've seen that movie.
I don't think I've seen this. This does not ring a 1972. Oh man, the effects must have been horrible.
No, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how did you guys enjoy the effects in Finch? They're pretty outstanding. Like,
they're pretty seamless.
Spot on. Yeah.
Seamless is a good point. Like, when you don't even think about it, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, I'll take the next trivia. One reason Jeff might have chosen that name, that his database contains knowledge of the comic characters Mutt and Jeff. Goodyear the dog is a Mutt, and the robot is the Jeff. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't see that book, but apparently some eagle-eyed viewer spotted a book, Mutt and Jeff. I'm unfamiliar. Are you guys familiar with it?
I've never heard of Mutt and Jeff. Nope.
No, I can't say.
Finch wears Nike sneakers, just like Forrest Gump, the character played by Tom Hanks in the Robert Zemeckis picture. Zemeckis produced Finch, so obviously,
yeah.
Oh, and I found the other 2 laws of robotics.
Okay.
Okay. First law: a robot may not injure a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. Laws 2: robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law.
Wow.
Wow. So it really just centers around not hurting human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. And then law 4, take care of my dog.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And to get back to Steve, you trivia about Zemeckis. Zemeckis has been like Hanks and Zemeckis. They just do gold. They just seem to make great stuff, right? They Forrest Gump. Yeah, you talked about this movie.
What about Apollo?
Castaway.
Is that,
Castaway.
Apollo, was it?
I don't know if Apollo was.
Don't know about that one. Don't know.
But Castaway was.
Castaway was. Yeah, that one.
I didn't know that Zemeckis did Castaway. I know that Zemeckis did a Denzel Washington movie where he was a pilot, and I know he loves like certain kinds of music, like very iconic music. He uses a lot of like you know the soundtrack for Forrest Gump is like it's hopping the whole way through. And
yeah. Music's always a cool thing in Zemeckis movies. So Finch had the one that was Bye Bye America, Miss America 5. What's with that damn song?
Don McLean.
Tom McLean. That was like
Don
the thread through the whole movie, and it ends with it, right? So it's a whole a theme there, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now in the trivia, I'm a little surprised. Well, I shouldn't say that. I thought Tom Hanks got COVID at some point, and I thought maybe it happened in relation to this movie somehow, but it's not in the trivia, so I'm assuming maybe it's just completely didn't happen.
I think it occurred separately. I think he was just on vacation. Yeah.
I heard that he did, and it's not really related to this movie. I would imagine this movie was shot a while ago because the effects and everything had to be done. There's a lot. Always look at the end of the credits, and you're amazed by the hundreds of people that are involved to do these movies.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
it blows your mind. This is not a little low budget movie, right? Low independent thing. It's like
no.
It employs. It seems like thousands of people or something, but
it's insane. It's insane how much work went into it, and God knows when he filmed it, you know. And then they had to spend a lot of time in post production, maybe even spend some time on the shelf.
This seems like the kind of movie that could have a ton of post production work, you know.
Yeah. So who knows, right? Yeah.
Who knows?
But I enjoyed these kind of movies, and I love the Tom Hanks, so I'm 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
two these whatever.
Devil signs. Actually, thumbs up was a thing in this movie, wasn't it? It was Jeff did that quite often.
Oh yeah.
Well, Jeff was like a teenager. You're starting to just get into his teenage years at the end.
Yeah, in day 3 of his life.
Yeah, eventually he'll probably just rule the world. He'll just take over.
Yeah.
You never know.
You'll be
Do
like.
You guys think... Go ahead.
No, you'll be like this big king, like robotic.
People worship him. In the future, people worship Jeff.
In like 30 days or something.
Oh, hell, Jeff.
30 days. Do you guys think that a prequel would work for this movie?
Prequel? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, okay, do you think we'd have any advance warning of a solar flare of that nature that would just knock us out? Like, but was it globally?
The thing I think is that we could have advance notice, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did, but I think we'd just sit there and go, what are we going to do about it? We're like, well, nothing, you know, so, you know, I could see that happening. What are we going to do about a solar flare from the sun? We don't have equipment to deal with that.
I
We're just
don't.
gonna watch it happen,
Yeah.
Just put up a huge sunglasses.
Yeah.
Giant
I have
sunglasses.
polarizing glasses, so I'll be all right.
Yeah. Now, if Donald Trump's in power, he'll have the best stuff in the world to deal with it. He'll have the best. We'll have the best people. He'll have the best stuff to deal with it. So if he's in power, we're fine.
Oh man.
Oh, all right, gentlemen.
Let's
I
hope
think-
this doesn't happen. Let's hope this whole thing
Yeah.
doesn't occur
No,
in our
honestly,
lifetime.
the movie, the movie. I do not see this becoming a franchise in any way.
No. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's what I think of that question.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is going to be a standalone, and
Yeah.
not sure I even want to see a prequel or a sequel.
So is that Finch, gentlemen?
I think that's Finch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. That was Finch. We are primarily critical. You are awesome for joining us. Next week, Monday at noon. We'll catch you then. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.